Hey everyone, you listen to Nerd Boys Comic Blog. I'm Marco.
I'm Charles.
And today we're talking about Action Comics 1000, the 1000th issue of Superman Action Comics.
1,000 issues, even though I believe it's more, but I'm gonna leave it at 1,000.
I think if you add them all up, it's 1,000. There's
Okay.
probably like some side stories that they didn't add in though. I don't know. Anyway, 1,000 issues, landmark, celebration. You got 80 pages, 10 stories. Charles, which one was your favorite?
There were some that were kind of silly, some that were goofy, and some that hit me so hard I didn't know how to react to them.
Yeah, I felt like maybe one or two was kind of like throwaway stories, but done by very prolific Superman writers and creators. Like Paul Dini did a story that was pretty much a Mr. Mxyzptlk story. I thought that was pretty cool, but not 1,000th issue worthy.
Oh yes, but I mean it is a collection of stories.
Yeah,
Which some of them I wish they would just make them one-offs, as in give them their own graphic novel, or give them their own Elseworld series. Like there's one where I don't know who it was done by, but pretty much Superman is on Earth while the sun is pretty much almost exploding.
Yeah, Tom King wrote that one. He said straight up, I'm not a scientist. I don't know when the world's gonna end. I think I overestimated it. Because he writes 5 billion years in the future. And it's 5 million years in the future, the Earth will be destroyed by the sun.
Yes. And then not only that, I guess there's some kind of serum which makes everyone live forever. But I guess it wasn't created in time for his parents.
Yeah.
And
I think in the new continuity, his parents are dead way before he becomes Superman.
Oh, wow.
They died on his high school prom night.
That sucks.
That does suck, yeah. But I think the Tom King story was either my favorite or second favorite. No, it was my second favorite. The first one was The Never-Ending Battle.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a Tomasi story illustrated by Patrick Gleason, which has Superman fighting through hyper time after Vandal Savage kind of sends him through his own history.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not Superman's history, but his publication history.
Yes, and I found that very interesting, and I was like, wow, to think this story, I mean, of course it's fitting for the 1000 issue, and it probably is one of my favorites. I can say I almost enjoyed every story in this book. I believe it was the first one where they actually discussed how Superman is pretty much everyone looks up to him, and they throw a celebration for him and he doesn't want to attend it, and it's you should. You are the hope that everyone is looking for.
Yeah, he's the whole reason for the season.
Yes.
Yeah, Superman Day was a pretty good start to the issue. And it was illustrated by Dan Jurgens, who did one of the variant covers, the 90s one. And he also was a Superman artist for I would consider my the time I was getting into Superman.
Oh, okay.
So when I think of the way Superman is drawn and how his supporting cast is, it's that art. But we haven't really had that art since I was a kid reading Superman. So reading 1000 and being this is an old issue. I thought in my head man, this is really old art.
But I like how the artwork, it just sends you through time, where if you have been reading it from your childhood and I would say 15 plus years, each story has its own decade of arc, which it just resonates with you. And even then the one Superman story where he is fighting through time because of Vandal Savage, and just saying when he's fighting different versions of himself, I'm just wow.
Yeah.
Some of these I can remember as a child growing up, seeing my uncle who, had comic books here and there were Superman comics, and seeing these suits, and it's just yeah, that's real.
Yeah. Iconic. And then there's also art from the Paul Dini story with Mr. Mxyzptlk. There's art from Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, who's kind of this big-time Superman artist. And he's coming back for, I think it was some Bendis story. He really wanted to team up with this artist. I can't remember if it was for the annual coming out this year or his first arc on Superman. But I'm really excited about that because he draws some of the best Superman capes ever.
So, since we've somewhat discussed it, the last story. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, the last one was the Bendis one, kind of to lead you into the next era of Superman. I'm a little bit iffy.
Why? I mean, literally, that just sucked me in. It was just okay, because I don't know how many stories are in here, and I'm not even counting them. As I'm reading each one, I'm okay, they're their own little off story just for this. But as I finish that one, and I'm just yeah, it continues on. I'm I have to know what's going on here.
Yeah, the whole lead up into Man of Steel, which is the miniseries Bendis is doing before his run. I'm intrigued about the retcon that there's a person who destroyed Krypton.
Yes.
But I'm also I really like Bendis. He was the
Mhm.
guy who got me into reading comics in like the 2000s. He was really nice and really kind during C2E2, and he had all these stories to share. His run on Superman, I think he still has a funk that he's in right now, and you can feel a little bit of it in this issue. And what I know Bendis best is like his dialogue. His dialogue wasn't really super snappy in this one. It was mostly from the civilians, which is like something that he does a lot. It's like civilians talking about heroes.
Oh, okay.
And of course, the Trunks are back in this issue, so he had
Yes.
to address the issue straight up. Be like, "Well, the Trunks are back. That's new. It's interesting, and it's from the perspective of people who are, of course, from 2018.
Yes.
Don't understand the context of why he wears his underwear on the outside, and that's a visual reference of like the 1930s strongman. But yeah, I think if he doesn't lay on a lot of jokes like that, it'll be fine. I like that he brought in Supergirl because she
Yes.
just lost her book, so maybe she'll be a supporting character. Sounds like Lois and John will be in it still.
Okay, because I did enjoy the appearance of Supergirl, which I feel like sometimes when it comes to like individual like characters and like their books, you don't really see too many crossovers like that unless it's like a dire situation, and because it's I guess relating to like Kryptonian like legacy where this guy may be the reason that Krypton has been destroyed. It's nice that they have Supergirl around for that. And possibly Superboy if he's out there somewhere. Not Jonathan, but I'm talking about the other Superboy.
Connor Kent?
Connor Kent.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to pop up sometime soon.
I would be really happy if he did. I haven't seen Connor since New 52 around like the second run of the Teen Titans.
Yes.
I think that's when they got rid of him. And then another thing I find interesting, the potential of using Jor-El, because he is back now.
Oh, so he's permanently back.
Well, they did take him away, but they could just, at any time, Bendis could be like, no, I want to use Jor-El. Let me use Jor-El. As long as it doesn't interfere with Doomsday Clock, he would totally be in the book.
I mean, yeah, because then what if, like, this dude did come to Jor-El and was like, oh, yeah, I'm destroying your planet, and that's the reason why, like, he was like, hey, before you do this, I know what's going on. I'm just going to send my kid away so that way he can be able to give some kind of hope.
Yeah, like Jor-El had insider information.
Yes.
Like, it was just an unstoppable destruction, so he's like, send my child away to Earth.
Man, it did work out for us.
Oh, yeah. I keep thinking back to the Tom King story, and I was like, damn, that was really good, because Superman, like, sure, the human race could, like, leave, like, hundreds of years from now, be gone from Earth, and never come back. But Superman, to him, that's his home.
Yes.
Like, he'll always be tethered to Earth through his parents. And since they're dead in the ground, of course he's going to come back and visit Earth.
Yes.
And just, like, the fact that he'll never be able to go back to their gravesite because there's no more Earth, like, even though their bodies are long decayed, and, like, there's nothing left on Earth, it's still, like, an emotional... It's, like... It's hard to explain. It's like, having a family heirloom now gone.
No, I completely understand. And it's, like, fitting for Tom King. Like, I couldn't expect anyone else to write that story.
Yeah. No one writes sad men crying out of windows like Tom King. And, like, I don't like sad Superman, but this was, like, bittersweet Superman.
And it just comes to show you, like, throughout the page... I mean, throughout the, each of the pages... You see, like, his power and what he's capable of. He's taking dirt and he's crushing his hand to make diamond. He literally blows into his hand and make, like, a ice sculpture, which is not melting within the sun of, like, his parents. And it just comes to show you the man who can do everything can't stop this one thing.
Yeah. He can't stop the world from ending. But he can help everyone throughout the universe.
Yes.
Like, the human race will live on, all this great stuff. But he can never bring his parents back.
If only he had a Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah. That's something... I don't think Superman would ever sacrifice souls.
No.
No. This isn't Frank Miller. Actually, I'm so happy that there's a Frank Miller reference. The Endless Battle with Patrick Gleason. He draws... Every page is a splash page, and, like, one of them is the Frank Miller Superman getting struck by lightning.
Yes.
And I was like, they found a way to throw that in there as an Easter egg. Because they go through the whole gambit, like beating up gangsters, fighting in the war, weird sci-fi adventures in space, and then, like, the dark 80s period where he's, like, the Dark Knight Returns, and then you go all the way up until today with, like, him, Lois, and Jonathan. I think that's the best way to describe, like, this decade of Superman.
Yeah, he has been through a lot in the past 10 years.
Yeah. Well, he was two different people for like a long time.
Yeah. It was incomplete.
Yeah. He just needed his family back. That's all he needed. And then, of course, there's a Scott Snyder story with him and Lex.
Yes, which that one I want to know more. Like some of these stories, I like them as one-offs, but that one teased so much, and I'm like, I want answers.
Yes, especially since Snyder's going to do Justice League. I want to see if he's going to have Lex and Superman interacting more, like continue this whole idea of like them being friends as kids. Because that's one of my favorite like Superman lore things. Every writer will change it. Sometimes Jeff Johns is like, oh no, they knew each other as kids. Sometimes someone else comes along and like, nah, they didn't know each other until much later on when they're in Metropolis. But I really do like the whole the Smallville thing.
Yes,
it was even in the TV show.
I mean, I think it's fitting because then it's like when you meet someone, it's like, okay, this is my villain. It's like, oh, okay, it's just a typical villain. But it's like for Batman, where the Joker is who he is because of Batman. And it could be that, Clark Kent and Lex Luthor knew each other as friends who grew up, but then after a while, they part. It's like with Spider-Man. I mean, they portrayed it in the original Spider-Man movies a lot better than Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, the friendship between Harry and Peter and like how that all went to shit.
Yes.
I like that. The whole
again, but did it fall apart again?
Doesn't Harry die in the original movie?
Yes, he died. Well, no, he did die in the original movie. I mean, he went out like a boss.
Yeah, saving Peter from Venom, that's pretty good.
Yes. That weak Venom.
Oh, no. Let's not talk about Venom. Or the new Venom, either.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Well, this is a DC discussion about Superman 1000 issue and how it has probably gotten me back in.
Yes. One of the weaker stories, I think, was probably The Enemy Within. It was the mind control one.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that one. I was like, oh, where is this going?
Yeah, I was like, I get it. It's cool. It really shows there's other heroes in Metropolis besides Superman. There's the police force, and he's really inspired them to be better. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the whole message of Superman. It's to be better than yourself and like to always aspire to greatness. And it was cool to see a lot of Maggie Sawyer, Captain Maggie Sawyer. Yeah. How they show her, I think like 3 different stories in this one.
I think so.
Yeah, even Bibbo gets a whole like issue story to him.
Yes, I did actually kind of enjoy that. I was like, wow, that's kind of nice. Throwing in a character. Now, another story which I was kind of okay with and it was just all right to me was Faster Than a Speeding Bullet. I was just like how he was doubting himself. I'm like, let's be honest. You could do anything, Superman.
Yeah.
There was no way you wasn't going to catch that bullet.
It's definitely closer to like the animated Superman.
Yes.
Where you can't do everything. But like when you have Tom King writing a Superman who lived like 5 billion years, and then the next story is like Superman, he can't even catch up to a bullet. Like he barely makes it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a weird juxtaposition. I don't know. I felt like Superman's power scale in this issue, even though it's written by 8 different writers, drawn by like 10 different artists, because you also have the pinups. The power scaling is kind of weird. Yeah. But I don't care about power scaling. Superman can do everything at all times.
Yes, he can do everything, and I won't say there's a minimum of like nothing he can't do.
It's just writer convenience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when he's not capable of something, which like in Bendis, like the last arc of this mega story where he's struggling to fight against someone, and I feel like the moment you see any Kryptonian spilling blood, besides Jonathan, because he's half, I'm giving him that much.
Yeah, but he has gotten stronger.
Yes, but when you see someone like a Kryptonian spilling blood, that's when you know the situation is real, and it's like you see Superman with a swollen eye. I'm like, wow, okay. He actually have somebody who's putting a rough beating on him.
This is like Doomsday level threat right now. And I can't wait to see what happens next.
A conscious Doomsday level threat.
Yeah. Doomsday who can actually be methodical and plan.
Yes. So this 1000 issue, I'm glad I was able to read it. I'm glad that I was able to get 2 variants. I didn't want to go crazy and grab like all of them, but I was like, no, Charles, don't do that.
I grabbed maybe like 6.
It's okay. I had to fight back. But if I go in there next week, not next week, the following week, for Actions 1001, if I do see more issues, of more variants of 1000 issue, I might pick up other ones.
Yeah, I've already ordered like way too many. I think I'm going to stop. I have an online order coming in for like 2 other variants that you can't get in stores.
You remind me of Miguel.
I'm getting there. Well, this was a special moment for me. I like Superman a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, he's everything American and true and like just pure.
And that's why I'm so upset about the movies.
Yeah.
Like Justice League did portray him towards the end as that Superman that we all wanted. And when I think of Superman, I do think of hope. Like, seeing that S on his chest.
Seeing those trunks?
Yes, those trunks.
They're a sign of hope.
Those bright red trunks lets me know I'm in a safe place.
You know that the trunks only came back because Bendis unknowingly just said, yeah, bring them back. Because DC came up to him and was like, hey, do you want to bring the red trunks back? And he's like, yeah. Not knowing that there was a big controversy online about whether or not the trunks are cool or just lame.
Well, I'll put it like this. It's Superman. If you think they're lame because it's red trunks, get over it. It's something that defines who he is. That's how you identify someone. Like, when I think of you, Marco, I can't imagine you without glasses. Right now you have peach fuzz. You got a mustache and some beard growing in. It's freaking me out, man. I'm the one who has the facial hair, okay? You can't be stepping into my territory.
If we grow beards together, it'd be awesome. It'd be great if we had, like, a video together.
I know, Beard Brothers.
Yeah. We need a camera just to get, like, Beard Brother... That should be the title of our thing. Beard Brother Comics. Even though I can't even say it. Beard Brother Comics.
Say that 5 times. Peanut butter in your mouth.
Oh, no. But another kind of bummer, because this week was the last issue of Superman from Tomasi and Gleason. It was kind of like the end of a really good run.
So who's taking over Superman?
It's Bendis.
Who's taking over Action Comics?
Bendis.
Oh, so he's writing both of them?
Yep.
Wait a minute. Did Gleason write both of them?
Tomasi was writing for Superman with art by Gleason. And then we had Dan Jurgens doing Action Comics. So Dan Jurgens did all the cool stuff with, like, Mr. Oz. And then I think they crossed over for Superman Reborn.
Okay.
And I think that's the only crossover they did. Yeah, for, like, the 2 years and, like, 45 issues that they worked on, they only crossed over once.
Wow. So I'm wondering, because, like, Bendis is writing both of these, would it be, like, intertwining with each other? Because, I mean, if you want to, you could possibly, with different artists, which obviously he does have, you can just write one cohesive story just across the 2 books.
Yeah. If it does double ship every month, you have a Superman written by Bendis every week.
Yes.
Or if they switch it back to, like, no, you get 1 book this week, or you get 1 Superman this month, then Action, if they switch it that way.
I mean, it's still weekly, right?
I don't know. It's a good question. I know Bendis writes, like, when he was working at Marvel, he had, like, 8 books a month.
Well, that's pretty rough.
Yeah. So I'm sure 4 books a month is still, like, a light load for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and he is writing for, like, 1 character.
Instead of, 12.
Yes. Oh, God. I think I'm really appreciating the fact that he's with DC now. I'm excited to see what's going on. Like, his arc in here, I enjoy it. And I want to see where this goes.
Yeah. I want to do, like, a whole thing talking about, like, the 2 books that got, well, not really canceled. The Superman run that ended, and then, like, the Super Sons. I want to do a whole video talking about those.
Okay.
But I probably will do that later. after I get everything together for that. But do you think that's it for Action Comics number 1000?
Yes.
Yeah?
I would have to say as my grade, they put their foot in it.
They put their foot in it. I think it's a 10 out of 10. I really don't like these kind of issues. I really don't like the landmark issues where they have to celebrate and it's just a bunch of short one-offs.
Yeah, I enjoy it because for someone like me who has slowly drifted away from comics and it's just like I'll hear everything through word of mouth, seeing this have given me that, like, that fresh breath of air where it's like, okay, I'm ready to get back in. I'm going to just start off with Superman and I'm going to see where things go. Because, I mean, to be honest, I'm interested in seeing what's happening with John Stewart. Because I guess, like, he has a new ring now.
Yeah, he's going to be an ultraviolet lantern.
Yeah, like, where did that come from?
Yeah, Snyder's going to do a lot of crazy stuff with that book.
But hey, Jeff Johns gave the okay. Because when it comes down to the lanterns, if he doesn't like it, it's not getting put in the stories.
Oh yeah, Jeff Johns I think will have that grip, that death grip on Green Lanterns for, like, the next 10 years.
Or until he dies.
Yeah. He'll become editor-in-chief, and you still have to, like, go to him and be like, Can I make a new Green Lantern?
Or he'd be sub-editor-in-chief just to watch over the Green Lantern stories.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally rebuilt the lanterns from the ground up. And now it's just like I want to see where they progress.
I'm really excited about like No Justice, the Justice League run for Snyder, and then whatever Johns does with Doomsday Clock. I know it's now going to be like bi-monthly.
Oh, okay.
So every other month you get a new Doomsday Clock.
Because it was monthly, right?
It was monthly, but then the art just took so long for the scheduling that they pushed it back, so it ends September 2019.
Okay. Whoa.
At the earliest.
Wow.
If they have another delay, pushes it back again.
I'm wondering what happened at DC.
I think they're at that phase right now where they know they're on top.
Yeah.
And they know we're going to buy a book, even if we have to wait 2 months for it.
And I think it's one of those quality over quantity.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of putting out 100 books a month, it's like, what, maybe between 30 to 60?
And I mean, I think that's fair. Like we were discussing in the car where I think it would be better if, instead of just like pushing out like a character and giving them their own like line of stories. And it's just like, okay, yeah, this character gets a book, like get them a miniseries, get them 6 issues, get them 12 issues. Because that's what honestly, kills books sometimes.
Yeah. And right now we have things like minor characters in DC have 6 to 12 issue runs going on right now. Raven, I think she has a 12 issue run. Mr. Miracle has a 12 issue run. There's a bunch of new characters from Dark Knight's Metal who are getting like maybe, I think it's just short runs, but they're all like copycats of Marvel characters. Because like the Terrifics are the Fantastic Four. Damage is the Hulk. Sideways, or whatever his name is, I think that's like Spider-Man, but it's like their version of that.
All these names that you're giving me sound like Transformers.
Yeah. Interesting. I can see that. Yeah. But I hate these commemorative issues because they're just collector bait.
Yes.
But I love this one. It does everything right. It gave me everything I wanted.
Give you even things you didn't know you wanted.
Yes. It made me realize that Bendis might do good.
You know what? I think he's going to do great. And the reason that I say that is because, and it's not trying to, like, I feel like a bad talk a lot, but at Marvel, there was rough times that was going on.
Yeah.
And there was more of, he wasn't given, like, the free reign to, like, really write the books that he wanted to write and write the characters the way he wanted to. It was just like, no, you're in charge of this, take care of that. And you can tell, like, when someone who's as a great writer as he is, where he was starting to slack off at, where he didn't have, like, he didn't put any love into his writing.
Yeah. He was starting to lose the love. And I think it's really great to put on Superman, maybe give him some other minor characters later on down the line, that he could really revitalize and re-energize a book that may be getting canceled, like Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
If that becomes, like, one of the books that they might cancel, put him on the book.
I mean, Blue Beetle is still running?
I have no idea, actually.
Okay. If it is, I'm actually surprised. And that's another thing also. I feel like bringing him on board, having a character like Blue Beetle where, I mean, giving him Superman, I think that's a huge project for him. But DC probably believe that he can handle it. And if he does do well, which I believe he will, the next step will be to give him someone like Blue Beetle where, look at Jeff Johns. Like, he took Green Lanterns, made him amazing. Bendis might be the guy to bring Blue Beetle back into the limelight.
Yeah. Or if they have like not just like Blue Beetle, but like Ted Kord, Jaime Reyes, maybe even Booster Gold, who just recently got back into the DC universe.
Yes. I mean, it could be able to, bring more life to characters that we haven't seen in years. And, I mean, right now I feel like, I won't say the change-ups, but like the minor moves that they've been making, like putting Martian Manhunter back on the Justice League. When I think of the Justice League, and this is coming from a 90s kid, well, I was born in 88, but this is coming from a 90s kid who grew up watching Justice League Unlimited, the Batman, Superman adventures. When I think of Justice League, it's Martian Manhunter, it's John Stewart, Green Lantern, it's Hawk Girl, which is she in the new Justice League?
She is. Actually,
Wow.
Snyder, first thing he wanted to do, animated version. He has the whole roster from the TV show.
Okay, you know what we need to do now? We need to figure out how we can get the original roster from like the regular Teen Titans to get their own book.
Yeah. Well, it's...
That'd
you mean the animated one?
That'd be kind of rough.
Yeah. I think the new Titans series is going to be a new roster, but it's not exactly the TV show.
But I'm fine with that. But I think that's it.
I think that's it for this week. This is Nerd Boys Comic Blog, signing off. I'm Marco.
I'm Charles. See ya.
Peace.